Hello and welcome. I am Sarah Martin. I'm the Director of Intake Operations, and I am very excited to be leading a conversation today on what it's like to apply to become a surrogate with Family Source Consultants. I'm not only excited to be talking about this, but I'm excited to introduce you to my guest. This is Jen Billings, and she is one of our incredible surrogate intake coordinators. So, Jen, welcome. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So, just to begin, let's just dive in with Jen. What is it that you love about connecting with surrogates, about being an intake coordinator?
I love being that first step, that first person they speak with about it, explaining the process, kind of opening them up to what surrogacy is, the timeline, the compensation, what intake process consists of, just being that first step, that kind of welcoming open door for them to be there for them and support them. Seeing them go through this process is it's very fulfilling and rewarding to be a part of that.
Thank you. Absolutely. I think, we've discussed this before too. The surrogacy journey in general, there's a lot going on. There's so many
Yes.
details. And that's something I love about Family Source in general is that you have a dedicated person connected to you the whole time. And so I love what you just said. Yeah, you guys are the welcome team, basically. And so I love that you get to do that. So let's jump right in. Kind of start walking us through the intake process, just kind of from A to Z.
Yeah, well, definitely. First off, we're going to get really close. Um, the intake coordinators and the surrogates do a lot of communicating through this step. We're going to become best friends. We're sharing a lot of information. We're gathering a lot of information.
Yeah.
We're your support person through it. So we're going to get very close. We'll be talking every couple of days. We'll be emailing, texting. We're going to be working on gathering all of that information. At the same time, we're also going to be informing you, making sure that the surrogate knows everything throughout this. They're fully informed. They know what they're getting into. They know what to expect. It's a really important process for us to not only be there and support them, but also to educate them. So that's kind of our first step into it. And then the first step for the surrogate is applying and getting that application completed. As soon as we get that, they're able to schedule their intake call. As soon as we have that intake call scheduled, we meet with the surrogates and we explain everything in thorough detail. And they also have that intake call to ask any questions that they have or bring up any concerns that they may have. Or a really important point to bring up too is it's also a great time for them to ask any questions that their family has or their support system or their partner for us to be there and speak with them on that as well.
That's a really excellent point, and I think something else I want to bring up too is we take ASRM guidelines, American Society of Reproductive Medicine. We take those guidelines really seriously as well. And so that's why filling out that application, and as you're inquiring and as you're connecting with us, in the beginning and through your application, putting all the details that you can think of and really answering those questions completely. We want to make sure that you're meeting those guidelines, you're qualifying, and want to be able to discuss anything that we might need to just upfront. Like you said, after that application gets approved and your intake call is scheduled, you really want to be able to, the intake coordinator wants to have all the information, right up front. I think that's huge.
Yeah, exactly. It's really important for us to make sure that we have all of your information up front so we can go over these things with you. There's a lot of information out there about surrogacy and the qualifications to become a surrogate. It's important that we have all of your information, even if you think it may be something that would disqualify you, meet with us, talk with us, have that intake call. We'll go over it. It's not always a disqualification. There's so many things we can work with and discuss with you from the beginning.
Yeah, it's like you said, don't be scared to ask questions and don't be scared to,
Mhm.
well, I didn't want to bring this up or no, tell us. Let us help you. Let us get, the information we need so that we can move forward with, all the information. So in that light, what is something in particular that's important to make sure that is detailed on that surrogate application?
Yes. So there's a couple things that we really want to make sure that are
Sure.
detailed on the application. Your delivery information, your prenatal care providers, names, locations, their information. We need that filled out completely so that we can gather your medical records, so we can review those medical records and make sure that we have everything we need to be able to move you on to the next step of matching. Another really important step is having that up-to-date PAP and your OB clearance. If you
Yes.
already, yes, yes, if you already have an updated PAP, if you've done it recently, we'll still need that OB clearance. And that's usually simple. You reach out to your last OB who did your last PAP. A lot of times they'll just have you send it in, sign it. Sometimes they will request an appointment. So you will need to go and have another PAP. You'll want to schedule that right away. Make sure that we have that. Those are really important. Another important step really is also making sure that you have your support system on board, that you've talked with your spouse, your significant other, your family. Make sure that everybody is supportive and understanding. And again, that's where that best friend relationship comes through. If you need to ask us a question to clarify something for a family or for your support system, ask us. We're more than happy to clarify and help answer any questions they have.
Absolutely. I love both of those points are excellent. One about the support system too, I think I appreciate you making yourself available. I know so many of our coordinators have talked to a husband or a partner, whoever it
Mhm.
is, just to be like that maybe doesn't totally understand or isn't fully on
Yeah.
board and just needs some more information. So I love, we've had even partners, and join in on the intake call. Love that. Love for them to as well
Yes.
be fully informed. Or if you are a single surrogate moving forward, is your best friend going to be your support system? Is it your mom?
Mhm.
Who is really going to be there
Yeah.
for you if they need to be a part of, a call or have questions? Like, we want to support them and make sure that everyone in your circle is equipped for this journey as well. And of
Definitely. Yeah. We
course, yeah, oh,
expect,
go ahead.
oh,
Yeah.
sorry. We expect you to be an open book and share so much information with us. It gets a little personal at times and we need to know a lot,
Yeah,
but we're an open book as well. We're here to answer any questions you
that's
have on
right.
surrogacy, any questions you have on the entire process. If we don't have the answer, we have somebody who does. So come to us with the questions. We are here for you.
You're totally right. And, as well, I just want to re-highlight, it's, so huge. Once, the intake process starts rolling and medical records are coming in and, the intake coordinators are getting the surrogates profiles together for intended parents and all this is happening, we often get hung up right there at the end on OB clearance and PAP results. And everyone's
Yes.
excited and that surrogate's going, oh, I'm ready for mapping. So it's like, yeah, as soon as you hang up from your intake call your current
Yes.
OB, go, here and just let them know because each provider is going to handle that different. Let them
Hmm.
know what your intentions are. I'm planning on becoming a surrogate. I'm working with this agency. Here are some things that we're working through. I'm going to need an OB clearance form signed. Can I just fax that in? Which we'll do that for you, of course. Can the
Yeah.
team just fax that into you and you sign and fill it out? Or do you require me to come in for an appointment? Because some may require you to come in for an appointment, and that's absolutely fine. They want to talk to you, maybe do an updated exam, things like that. Love that. But go ahead and find out that now so you can get that scheduled as
Yes.
soon as possible. Because I don't want you to get
Yes.
through a couple weeks of intake and then you have to schedule an appointment and wait even longer. So call your provider, your OB, and get information on
And
that
get
as
on
well.
that cancellation list
That's
because
right.
some are out for weeks, sometimes months on their
Months.
appointment.
Mhm.
Sign up for that cancellation list so they can call you and get you in earlier if possible.
That's a really good point. Great. So after you've done the application, after you've connected with your intake coordinator and
Mhm.
had that intake call where, and just you're on the intake call and you're going over the details of your application and kind of going over next steps and all of those things. Once you've done that, what's next? What happens after the call?
Great. So after the call, we will send you a couple emails. One of those will be the GCAA, which is the Gestational Carrier Agency Agreement. That is going to have a lot of information in there for you. It's important also when you're reading over that to reach out if you have a question. Again, I'll keep saying it. We are always here for you. So reach out when you're going over that. And then we'll also be sending you the intake packet. The intake packet is your intake paperwork. So if you're married or if you're in a relationship, you'll need your partner's information as well. They'll need to sign as well. They're going to be an important part of this process, not just to support you, but they're also going to be there for the mental health evaluation, background check, match meeting, blood test, legal signatures. It's again that goes back to saying make sure they're on board and they're supportive
Right.
and they're educated as well. So we'll send you those. You're going to sign those. They'll come to you first, then to your partner. Once those are signed, you'll also receive an email. It's a welcome email. It's got a lot of information in it. Your driver's license will be needed, your pictures, all the stuff we need, kind of the next steps drawn out for you. Once we receive everything back, sign, Then we're going to move on to working on your profile. That's the fun part. So we get to work on your profile. We get to upload those pictures you sent. We get to put in all your information and get you ready for matching.
That's incredible. I mean, it really is true. After that call, you just go into major collection mode, like you said,
Yes.
and pictures for your profiles. Let's talk about pictures for your profile really quick. I
Yes.
like to highlight that too. I always, tell surrogates, like, think about whatever pictures you're providing. Would you want to put them on your resume when you apply for a job? Make sure they're not, I always say, kind of shy away from social media poses or
Hmm.
filters like that.
Yes.
Make sure to include, if you're comfortable, your children as well. Have family pictures, pictures of just you. Think about, on your profile, you want just like pictures you would want to see of the intended parents on their profile as well.
Yes.
You want to see, like, you know, their life. Do you have hobbies? Do you and your family hike a lot? Maybe pictures of you guys out hiking. They don't have to be all professional photos, but just so they
Yeah.
can have a glimpse of you and your life and who you are.
Yeah, it's great to include a lot of photos that aren't just selfies. Like you
That's
had mentioned, it's great to show them who you are. If there's pictures of you and your family out hiking or, you out doing something you love that other people have taken of you, include those. We're wanting them to get a feel for who you are. And, these pictures really help.
Yeah. So absolutely. So, for the profile as well, so we've gotten if you're COVID vaccinated as well, we're going to have you, turn in your COVID vaccination card. And the other big document that we're going to collect from you is if you're insured, we want your insurance cards, as
Yes.
well as we need a copy of what we call explanation of coverage or explanation of benefits. And that can be tricky and that can be hard to find. Jen,
Yes, it can.
what are your kind of tips and tricks to getting a hold of your explanation of benefits, your explanation of coverage with your insurance policy?
Well, you can reach out to your insurance company or your HR department. A lot of times they will want to give you a summary of benefits, which is around 10 or 11
Right.
pages. That's a
Mhm.
big thing. This explanation of coverage or explanation of benefits is going to be big, around 100 pages, give or take. It's a lot. You can reach out through your portal if you have an insurance portal first. You can log in there. Some insurance companies do have it. You can just download it straight from your portal. Some you're going to need to talk to somebody with the insurance company and request it. And if they don't have it, your HR is going to be your next bet. Reach out to HR, ask them, and explain to them it's the big one. It's not the summary of benefits, it's the big explanation of benefits.
And if you do have online access to it, it can be hard to find because it's maybe not something you've even paid
Yes,
attention to. It's okay to give, if you're comfortable, only if you're
yes,
comfortable, but give your
yes.
intake coordinator your portal login and they can get in there with you and potentially, locate that for you. So again, just great information, Jen, and something I think about with working with family source consultants is we have our dedicated medical record specialist. And
Yes,
so
that is
that's something
great.
that is, yes, and she, working alongside of you all and collecting medical records for the surrogates, it just helps expedite the process. It's, and it's just a great deal of work. So what can the surrogates make sure that they do so then they can get to matching quickly?
This goes back to having all of your information on your providers. It really helps our medical record specialist. So we do send you an email after the intake call and after everything's signed, confirming your providers. It's really important to have the correct OB that you had for your prenatal care, have the correct delivery hospital that you had for your delivery for each pregnancy and delivery. That really helps our medical record specialists get those records quicker. As soon as we get those, the sooner we get them, the better. That'll expedite the process. And then also making sure that everything that we've asked for in the welcome email, make sure you get that over to us. That expedites the process. And anytime you have a question with anything that we need, again, reach out to us. Just a constant, reach out to us, call us, text us. We're here. That's going to expedite your process. Being communicative, communicating with us, responding quickly is really going to expedite your
Yes.
process. Um, and then also, we really want to make sure that we have all of your information that you need for matching. What kind of intended parents you're going to want to match with. What are you comfortable with? There's a lot to consider there. There's single and double embryo transfers. There is the location of the intended parents, fertility clinic. There's the location of the intended parents. Are you comfortable with international? Are you wanting just in the United States? Got to think about languages. Is a language barrier going to be an issue? You've got to think about travel. You've got to really consider a lot of things that go into this matching process to get prepared for matching. These are all great discussions to have with your intake coordinator. It's what we're here for, to go over and explain that process, let you know, if you're not sure if you're comfortable with international, not international, ask us. We can help explain that process and how it works.
That's such good information. And I wanna jump right in to kind of the matching process and preparing for that. Before we do,
Yes.
just one more question about, we've talked about the profile, but
Yes.
what are your tips about a surrogate's profile, which that's what we're presenting, first before you meet, on like a Zoom call, which is the match meeting we'll talk about in a minute. But before you do that, your intake coordinator is helping you get that profile together with your information, your delivery history, there's just, different, where do what state do you live in, stuff like that. It's just some basic information and also
Yeah.
some very detailed information. But there's also places where surrogates have to answer questions like a letter to potential intended parents or about their day-to-day life. What do you want to see on a profile that makes it a good profile where it's just really fully completed? What do they need to be thinking about when they're filling out their application, which basically correlates straight up into their profile?
Yes.
How do they need to be answering those questions?
I want to see thorough answers from the heart. We want this profile to represent the surrogate completely. When the intended parents look at this profile and read it, we want them to get a sense and a feel for who you are. So
That's right.
answers that are thorough, answers that are from the heart, not answers that are what you think somebody would want to hear or see, answers that are really you. There's questions that you may think are silly. It asks to describe what you eat in detail. That's something that, we've found intended parents want to know. So that's something that let us know how you eat. If you absolutely love pizza, put it in there. Let us know. Maybe your
That's
intended
right.
parent loves pizza too. So add in, those details about yourself. It asks how you feel about the surrogacy journey, how you feel about certain things. Answer it truthfully, honestly, answer from the heart. This profile represents you. So these intended parents are looking at this before meeting you and deciding if they want to move forward in that match meeting. Just like you'll be looking at profiles of intended parents to see if you want to move forward with them, you really want to accurately represent who you are.
That's right. That's exactly right, Jen. I think that's the most important thing that you said. Speak from the heart and represent
Mhm.
who you are, just like you would want an
Yeah.
intended parent to do in their profile as well. So let me talk really quickly about the matching process. So after intake, you've met your best friend and you and your bestie have gotten all your stuff together and the intake team has, gotten you fully ready to match and you go to matching. That means you get to sit on a video call, just kind of like Jen and I are doing right now,
Yep.
with a matching specialist from Family Source, and you'll get to introduce and meet the parents. And it's like all this hard work, you'll finally be on this call and you get to meet this profile that you've said yes to and get to meet and go into further. And we'll be able to talk about kind of more in the matching process and
Yeah.
another episode of our series here. But you've given a lot of really great things to think about as far as what's an intake, and then you get on to matching, and then you're on to case management. But what is the added support that's available to surrogates during their whole journey here? Because I think that's something that Family Source really does an incredible job. And so just wanted to ask you just to speak to us a little bit about the support that's available.
Yeah, we have a lot of support available. You'll always have somebody there with you throughout the
Yeah.
whole process. So in intake, you have your intake coordinator. Matching, you're going to have a matching coordinator there with you. When you move over to case management, you'll have a case manager. Somebody from the team is always going to be there to support you. And we all still care. So if you have a great connection with your intake coordinator and you want to reach back out to me for a question, I still care about you. So there's that support, but there's also support. We have a monthly Zoom meeting. All surrogates can join. There's surrogates from all over the country. They jump on the Zoom, everybody sits and talks. It's like a sisterhood of surrogates. They talk about everything. And the neatest thing about that support is that everybody is in a different stage. So, if you're in the beginning stages, you've just matched and you are kind of nervous about the next stage, there's somebody who's been through it, who's going to be able to in that meeting just talk with you about what's next. So that's a great thing. We also have a Facebook group, private Facebook group that you can join. that's really a fun way to just connect with the other surrogates and talk about your experience and get that support.
Absolutely. And I want to add to that as well. Like you said, we've got the Zoom support group. We even have, an in-person support group in our Chicago office. Excuse me. Let me start that piece over. Jen, I think you made a really great point there. Our support really is various. Not only do you have someone along, every step of the way, you have your intake coordinator, you're working with someone in matching, you have your case coordinator. Once you are through with, you know, the matching process, that she takes you all the way to delivery. But we also have that
Yes.
dedicated surrogate support manager who really is incredible. And she leads those groups you're talking about. She's always in the Facebook group communicating with everyone, which, want to just make sure it's just a judgment free zone and it's confidential. You can't just join it from anywhere. You have to be a part of our active, surrogacy journey to be in that Facebook group. And like you said, it's so full of support and led by our dedicated surrogate support manager. And she also does an in-person group. If you are a surrogate based in the Chicago area, there's also opportunities to get together with any of the other surrogates that are in the area. It's really incredible. And I think it's important to note too, there's so many friendships that have been
Yes.
formed because of the way we offer support, and really you're just able to connect surrogate to surrogate. I love the way you put it. It's really a sisterhood in a lot of ways. And you do get really close. It is like family. You're talking about your relationships
Yep.
with your parents,
Hmm.
talking maybe about pumping after delivery. There's so many. What do you pack when you go to the hospital? There's just all these special situations, and I feel like you really highlighted no topic is off limit, and the goal is just that everyone feels supported and heard. And I just think we just knock that out of the park here. And I hope that, it really shows, our dedication, our passion about this, so just anything that before we close, anything that you want to say just as we can wrap up, just about surrogates in general and coming through this process, or anything that they might need to know.
Well, first off, we have a lot of great information on our website. So you can check out our website, get a lot
Point.
of information from that. And also just knowing that at Family Source, we're going to support you and care about you. We're here for you. I've been a surrogate myself twice, and I absolutely bring that to the table with anybody who I communicate with. I really want to understand where they're coming from and help them understand that I'm here for you. Family Source is here for you. It's a big step you're taking to become a surrogate, but it's a beautiful step as well.
I couldn't have said it any better. You're exactly right. And just so everyone knows, website www.familysourceconsultants.com. There's so many ways that you can reach out through the website and get a hold of us. So just, absolutely reach out. Don't hesitate. And Jen, thank you so much for having this wonderful conversation with me. So just, yeah, to anyone considering becoming a surrogate with Family Source, as you can hopefully tell, we're passionate about the surrogacy process. So it's just an honor to get to know each of you, each incredible supermom that applies to be a surrogate with FSC. We love being able to walk you through the initial steps and get you ready to meet these wonderful intended parents. We look forward to speaking soon.